The Bristol Brabazon was the largest airliner of its day, but how successful was it?
A high-altitude research aircraft is the Ashton, built by A.V. Rowe. Of great interest was the Avro 707B. Here's the SA-4, the first new bomber out of Short Brothers since the wartime Stirling. It has 4 Rolls-Royce Avon turbojets in double mountings, a business-like aircraft with speed, load, and armament still very much on the secret list. The launching and successful first flight of the long-range Saunders Roe Princess flying boat had been one of the big aviation events of the summer. Now the huge vessel wings proudly over Farnborough on her 10 engines. 4 of the turboprop engines you can see are coupled units. Arriving with the 2 delta-shaped research aircraft from which she was developed, the Avro Vulcan bomber was top secret at Farnborough. She wasn't exhibited on the ground, and the only views which observers had of her were these.
The FD-2, powered by 1 Rolls-Royce Avon jet with reheat, was the first aircraft in the world to exceed a speed of 1,000 miles an hour under international record conditions.
The short SC-1, another first from Britain.
Now back to the runway, where Hawker hunters are lining up for one of Farnborough's aerobatic displays. These are the men and machines of Treble 1 Squadron Royal Air Force, known collectively and expressively as the Black Arrows.
Fantastic Farnborough Part 1 brings you the most comprehensive look at British aircraft of the 50s ever assembled. If you haven't got your video yet, don't delay. Get Part 1 today. Farnborough, probably the most famous air show in the world. It was as far back as 1916 that the Society of British Aircraft Manufacturers, or SBAC, was formed with its first static show 2 years later at London's Olympia. By 1932, the event had moved outside to New Types Park, and by 1948, this annual event moved to Farnborough in Hampshire. This showcase for the British aircraft industry grew year by year, with many of the exhibits still on the secrets list. By 1964, with the decline of the industry, the show became a biannual event and included foreign aircraft with British components. Subsequently, Farnborough became an international showcase for aircraft, weapons, and manufacturers. One of its golden ages was the 60s.
Farnborough, 1960, the 21st flying display and exhibition given by the Society of British Aircraft Constructors. Farnborough opens the new decade on the crest of a wave of technical advancement. Developments of recent years have given flight a new dimension. For instance, guided weapons. Blue Steel, a powered guided bomb for the V-bomber force. Firestreak, an air-to-air missile for the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy, carried on the Javelin, Sea Vixen and Lightning fighters. Sea Cat, short-range anti-aircraft protection for the Navy, a highly maneuverable weapon. One of the British Army's defence weapons is Thunderbird, a fully mobile guided weapon system which is now in service. The Royal Artillery showed a battery of 4 launchers with their missiles. The Jindivik, a radio-controlled target plane. The first 5 days of the display are reserved for trade visitors, the buyers who come from overseas to see this colourful Farnborough showcase. Certainly the biggest draw among the aircraft was the short SC-1. the vertical takeoff and landing research machine. The first jet plane in the world to be able to change from hovering to forward flight. One of the most versatile helicopters, the Westland Belvedere. The Argosy freighter coach, a transport on order for overseas airlines and the Royal Air Force. 13.5 tons of freight, or 89 passengers. Easily adaptable and cheap to operate, it's a completely new design. Airframe, engine and missile producers are the three elements in the industry's search for perfection. The degree of their success is easy to see. For instance, about half the turbine-powered airliners in service are powered by British engines. There's always interest in designs for the future. The advent of the hovercraft, transport on an air cushion, is one of the many innovations which are maintaining worldwide interest in Farnborough and the industry it represents. Since the war, more than £1,000 million worth of aviation products have been sold overseas. From the fifth day, the show is open to the public. The machines are made ready for the flying display, and it won't be long now. Everything's just about set, so let's meet the man responsible for the smooth running of the flying program, Senior Controller Kenneth Pearson, Mac for short. And with him is Squadron Leader Peter Latham, who commands Treble 1 Squadron, Royal Air Force. Mac and his team control every stage of the flying display, which is planned by Farnborough's Flying Committee.
Well, no, you'll have to turn off.
And first on the program, the V-Bomber Scramble.
1, 2, 3, go.
This V-Bomber Scramble shows the speed with which Bomber Command is able to get a deterrent force into the air. 4 aircraft airborne in under 2 minutes. Flying Control's radar keeps watch on every movement in the air. It was in 1960 that the SC-1 scored its great technical success, rising on its 4 vertically mounted jets, hovering, and then moving forward, propelled by a 5th engine. Well point the way to a major revolution in man's command of the air. Such a plane has no need to worry about runways. A 47-seater with many other uses besides troop carrying is also arousing the interest of outback airline operators. The Handley Page Dart Herald gets clearance from the controller. Remarkable for its short takeoff, the Herald has a useful range of 600 miles fully loaded. A series of worldwide tours has just been completed, one machine visiting 49 countries in 5 continents. It impressed everyone with its maid-of-all-work qualities.
Victor 1, clear go.
The new Victor is a more powerful version of the Victor in service with Bomber Command. This plane has a destructive power greater than that of the entire force of Bomber Command during the last war. It's one of the impressive trio that make up the V-Bomber defense formations. A Farnborough newcomer in the airliner freighter field is the Avro 748. It made its first flight less than 3 months before the show. The makers claim that the 748 has an almost indefinite life, and certainly the order book reflects the confidence placed in it. 3 United Kingdom operators and Aden Airways have it on order already. It's also being built in India as an Air Force transport. Taking off now, the Vulcan B-2, a development of the world's first 4-jet delta-wing bomber. Its high-speed flights include the first west-to-east Atlantic crossing in under 3 hours. The NA-39, recently named the Buccaneer, means high-speed, low-level striking power for the Navy. Able to attack below radar or guided missile cover, it's been described as still unrivaled. Now, the world-famous Hawker Hunter. Some 2,000 have been built, and £200 million worth are in service in overseas air forces. Ace pilot Bill Bedford takes his place in his 2-seater Hunter. This is the latest version of the 2-seater, available as a trainer and ground attack fighter. Now it's the turn of English Electric's Lightning, an all-weather day and night fighter in service with the RAF. The Lightning is the latest fighter to enter squadron service with Fighter Command. A feature of its Farnborough performance was a flypast of machines of 74 Squadron, led by Squadron Leader Howe. This is the first squadron to be equipped with Lightnings. Fully supersonic, the plane carries fire streak among its armaments. It's been designed from the outset as a weapon system. And to end the show, Treble 1 Squadron, the Black Arrows, with their Mark 6 Hunter jets.
Put Treble 1 on the runway now.
Let's join them high over the Farnborough field. Wingtip to wingtip, the perfection of teamwork in the air.
Farnborough 1961 and the 22nd Flying Display and Exhibition of the Society of British Aircraft Constructors, the shop window of Britain's aviation industry. The world's most slender Delta, the handy page 115, is the focus of attention in the aircraft park. Renewed acquaintance with an old friend, the twin-seat Hawker Hunter. In contrast with the modern shapes, the Lincoln icing research aircraft is neighbor to the Jet Provost trainer, and the new 5 to 7-seater twin-engine Beagle. From manned aircraft to the guided weapons park, the Jindivik high-speed target. Blue Steel, the air-to-ground weapon, is demonstrated on its hydraulic loading trolley. The Army shows off its Thunderbirds. And Sea Slug is the Royal Navy's ship-to-air guided weapon. The Bloodhounds nose the sky, and beyond them, Blue Streak reaches for space. Blue Streak, first stage of a satellite launcher. It has an overall length of 60 feet and weighs 90 tons. The two rocket engines are capable of giving a combined thrust of 300,000 pounds. On show in the exhibition, the Stentor rocket motor, which will power Blue Steel, the standoff bomb. A model shape for future transport, the VC-10. Special steels and alloys for very special purposes, such as drop forgings for the most vital components and where strength and reliability and performance are so essential in the modern aircraft engine. Opening the flying display, the two-seat Lightning powered by two Rolls-Royce turbojets with reheat. Capable of supersonic speeds, the Lightning demonstrates its high-G, low-radius turns. The Navy's here, with Sea Vixens and Scimitars. And one Vixen can suckle another on the wing at low level. Number 800 Squadron, the Royal Navy Aerobatics team of 9 Scimitars. Even bad weather doesn't impair their polished performance of formation aerobatics. The helicopters steal more of the limelight year by year. The Army's contribution, 8 Skeeters in a barn dance. Fun to watch, but a brilliant display of maneuverability carried out with military precision. And something completely new even for Farnborough, a free drop parachute display by Royal Air Force and Army instructors. Smoke candles trace their fall. And in spite of strong crosswinds, landings are made with precision near the target markets. Another impressive parachute demonstration made by the ground firing of the Martin Baker rocket-assisted ejector seat. And now the handy page 115, the research aircraft with the improbable shape, a supersonic shape for low-speed research. But there's nothing improbable about the 115's performance as it bridges the gap between supersonic and low-speed handling. 92 Squadron's Hunters write their brilliant autograph across the sky, symbolizing the collective achievement of a major industry.
Farnborough, 1962, the 23rd flying display and exhibition of the Society of British Aircraft Constructors. Largest aircraft on show, the VC-10, stands aloof. Wider horizons in engineering development and new shapes mark the advance in aircraft evolution. The jet provosts of Central Flying School take off information to demonstrate their skill and aerobatic finesse. Another research aircraft, the supersonic T-188, constructed entirely of stainless steel for flight testing at speeds up to 2,000 miles per hour. A man with his head in the clouds and his hands on the Beagle-Wallace autogyro controls. Demonstrating its stability, a descent with hands and feet off the controls. Of a new breed of aircraft, the P-1127, powered by a vector thrust turbofan engine, shows its paces with a neighborly Hunter and demonstrates its high rate of climb and maneuverability. Rotatable nozzles on the Pegasus power unit direct the 6.5-ton thrust to the rear for forward flight and downwards for vertical lift. A gentle spot landing makes a fitting climax to this convincing demonstration of the VTOL fighter. Now a new look in civil transport aircraft, the Trident. With 3 Spey bypass jet engines grouped at the rear, it's designed to carry 100 passengers on short trunk route stages up to 1,700 miles. Another new development is the DH-125. A small transport aircraft with twin rear-mounted jet engines. With 4 rear-mounted Conway engines, the VC-10 will carry up to 150 passengers over intercontinental routes at a maximum cruising speed of 600 miles per hour. shorter landing runs are made possible by the use of thrust reversers on all engines. Now the RAF's contribution, with Lightnings of 74 Squadron turning on the reheat in a mass takeoff. All-weather supersonic fighters weave a high-speed pattern in the Farnborough sky. And now, hunters of 92 Squadron add their skill and precision to a memorable display. Precision flying and faultless performance are synonymous with the Farnborough display, demonstrating the vast potential of the aircraft industry.
"1962 was the last of the yearly Farnborough shows. The next Farnborough Air Display was 2 years later in 1964, where lightnings and battle attack sequences were the order of the day. 1964 was also the year that Britain's TSR-2 was to have been on show, but its development program was running too late. In fact, Farnborough never saw TSR-2 as it was subsequently cancelled by a Labour government. But let's go back to September 1964.
It's Farnborough again, Britain's aerospace industry on view to the world. Here's the great Super VC-10 and the hardy little Beagles, the Airedale and the Husky. There are aircraft for businessmen and the all-purpose hovercraft. Airliners for the world service. The waiting world is here in force to see and to buy. A newcomer, the huge short Belfast freighter, and from the same company, the Skyvan, ideal for small airfields. The giant Belfast, the biggest freighter ever built in Britain, has a maximum payload of 40 tons. By contrast, the shapely Trident. The Ministry of Aviation's Delta Wing HP-115 operating at low speeds, BAC's 221 for supersonic test flying. Blue Streak. On the 5th of June 1964, Britain's first stage of the European Launcher Development Organization was successfully fired at Woomera in Australia. The Skua rocket for meteorological research, and Seacat, a naval ship-to-air weapon. Red Top is an air-to-air homing missile. The Great Exhibition Hall draws vast crowds. Black Knight has had 17 successful launchings. It is a ballistics research vehicle powered by the Gamma motor. It will be developed as a 3-stage rocket to launch satellites in different orbits. A half-scale model of the UK-3, the first satellite to be wholly designed and built in Britain. Here, for the first time at Farnborough, is the head-up display, a new and important flying aid. The Royal Aircraft Establishment developed this essential flight information system. Vital facts are transferred electronically from the pilot's instrument panel to his windscreen, so he need never take his eyes off his line of flight. The data is indicated by the dots and lines. This electronic radar map enables an air traffic controller to fix the position of an aircraft and to control it onto the airway. From this hovercraft of the future to a working model of a kneeling undercarriage, which enables the height of an aircraft to be adjusted to help loading through rear doors. Long and careful study was needed before deciding on the ideal wing shape for the Anglo-French Concorde. Many different shapes were made and tested before the final design was approved. Then came the air tests on the HP 115 and the BAC 221, both of which are steps to solve the problems of low and high speeds in the Concorde. But already the eyes of British designers look further to the future, to speeds more than 4 times as fast as sound. These are perhaps the shapes of airliners to come. Wave riders, whose design, originated by RAE scientists, enables them to concentrate the compression wave underneath the wings, so they literally ride upon it. Who knows, such aircraft might fly from London to Sydney in 6 hours. But first models are exhaustively tested in a supersonic wind tunnel. On a special shadow screen, the conical compression wave can clearly be seen beneath the model. Carried on air, the SRN-5 hovercraft lifts up to 20 passengers or 2 tons of freight at a maximum speed of 70 knots over land, water or swamp. And now it's the turn of the helicopters. After making their debut with smoke, the Westland Wessex, Scouts, Wasps and Whirlwinds filed gracefully past the VIP enclosure. There is even a single-seater version, the Wallace Auto Gyro prototype, easily handled and designed with the private owner in view. The Hawker Siddeley Andover flies past on a single engine, with its rear door open. It is fitted with the kneeling undercarriage. For sheer versatility, the Hawker Siddeley P1127 is hard to beat. Powered by a Bristol Siddeley Pegasus PS53 engine, its swiveling jet nozzles enable it to use the shortest airstrips, rise and land vertically, and hover. In forward flight, it has transonic speed. The BAC 221 has a Rolls-Royce Avon jet. Its wine-glass-shaped wings give it a new look. The HP 115 was built to study low-speed flying characteristics. Its unique handling qualities are here shown in this Dutch roll. The pattern of the airflow can be seen from the smoke trails on the wing. The Jet Provost Mark IV, a twin-seater trainer combining speed with great maneuverability. Hawker Siddeley's brilliant strike aircraft, the Buccaneer, in a new improved version, the S2. 2 Rolls-Royce Spey jets drive it. It is in production for the Royal Navy. The largest of the popular Beagle series is the twin-engine B206, a 5 to 7-seater executive aircraft. Another executive aircraft, but more powerful, the Hawker Siddeley 125, a 6 to 8-seater powered by 2 Bristol Siddeley Viper jets. Now a small freighter with a great potential, the Short Skyback. This tough little aircraft has a capacious fuselage. It is fitted with a rear door for easy loading. The same firm's huge Belfast strategic military freighter can carry up to 220 fully equipped men or a load of 40 tons. It has 4 Rolls-Royce Tyne turboprop engines. The Handley Page Dart Herald, a short and medium-range airliner, has won many overseas orders. It has twin Dart turboprop engines. In their defensive role as strategic bombers, the famous Victor and Vulcan show their teeth. They carry the blue steel standoff bomb underneath the fuselage. Both have an impressive performance below radar level. Vulcan is powered by the Bristol Siddeley Olympus, and Victor II by Rolls-Royce Conway engines. Now, an exciting demonstration of the use of aircraft in a combined operation to capture an airfield. As the helicopters land troops and equipment, watch is kept overhead by Sea Vixens and Scimitars of the Fleet Air Arm. Transport and heavier weapons follow them down. first assault has secured the perimeter of the airstrip, in come the main forces with their heavy equipment. They're flown in by Hawker Siddeley Argosy freighters. Operation completed, and away go the Argosies. A new aircraft the world has been waiting to see, the BAC Super VC-10, a larger and more powerful version of the VC-10 already in service with BOAC. With its 4 Rolls-Royce Conway rear-mounted jets, it can carry 180 passengers at 600 miles an hour over ranges up to 5,200 miles and sets a new standard in passenger comfort. The Hawker Siddeley Triton has 3 rear-mounted Rolls-Royce Spey bypass engines to nurse its 100 passengers in silent flight at nearly 600 miles an hour. Like the VC-10, it is equipped for blind landings in fog. The world's first and most successful short-haul jet airliner, the BAC 111. With its twin rear-mounted Spey engines, it carries its 79 passengers at 550 miles an hour. And now, pure power unleashed. The Lightning Interceptor. Pilots of the Royal Air Force's No. 92 Squadron show the might of their 20-ton fighters in the air. How much training does it take to do this?
Right, and have you got any points on the refill at all that we just had?
No, that was fine.
Right, well, we'll just find ourselves an aircraft.
After university, the cadet, with his degree, moves on to specialist career training. And for all major branches, this takes him to the Royal Air Force College, Cranwell. Cranwell, the world's first air academy, has been providing academic, officer and professional training for over 50 years.
Coningsby 08 left, fully serviceable, and Barkston Heath 06 right, fully serviceable. Any questions?
The trainee pilots move on to the latest mark of jet provost, and in doing so experience for the first time the combined feelings of power and responsibility that handling a jet plane gives. In most branches, trainees leave Cranwell as fully qualified professional officers, capable of accepting the challenge of their first appointment. But for the flyers, ahead lies more training.
Hotel 21, you're clear taxi, runway 14 left hand, QB.
At RAF Valley, in North Wales, future fighter pilots, flying Nat or Hunter advanced trainers, constantly sharpen up reflexes, attitudes and flying ability.
044, clear takeoff, Hollyhead 1003. Kilo 44.
The Red Pelicans of the Royal Air Force Central Flying Training School in their Jet Provost Mark IVs lead the aerobatic display, which they share with the Nats, flown by instructors of No. 4 Flying Training School, Royal Air Force Valley.
In fact, the Yellow Gnats of No. 4 Flying Training School, RAF Valley, became known as the Yellow Jacks, and they in turn changed their name and the colour of their aircraft to become the world-famous Red Arrows. "1964 ended with this breathtaking display from the Red Pelicans. 2 years later, in 1966, fantastic Farnborough was on again, this time looking forward to a space-age future.
This year, a record 330,000 people, including nearly 11,000 from overseas, came to see Britain's latest and finest aircraft. The giant VC-10, with a tailplane as high as a 4-story building. And the smaller 3-engine Trident. The DH-125, a jet executive aircraft. The Beagle Terrier, a dual-control model, is ideal as a trainer or for flying clubs. Its de Havilland Gypsy Major engine enables it to cruise at 107 miles an hour with a range of 280 miles. The larger 4-seater Beagle Airedale has a range of 940 miles and a cruising speed of 133 miles an hour. A remarkably efficient small military helicopter is the Westland Scout. A touch of magic in the air, the Smith's blind landing equipment. Fully tested, it will give passengers safe landings in foggy conditions. In action here in its test aircraft, its essential simplicity is obvious. After switching on, the pilot sets his instruments according to data from flying control. Ground signals take charge and cause the equipment to assume automatic control and bring the aircraft in to land safely. The pilot checks his panel and brakes after he touches down. That's all he has to do. This year, Britain celebrates her golden jubilee of military aviation with a nostalgic display of historic aircraft. Forward again now to the exciting present, the slender Delta Wing Handley Page 115 and the sensational Hawker P1127, a vertical and short takeoff and landing strike aircraft. The mighty Vulcan, spearhead of Britain's deterrent force, here seen armed with the Blue Steel standoff bomb. And in the rocket park, Blue Streak, first stage of a European satellite launcher. Tiger Cat, a surface-to-air missile. Bloodhound Mark II, guided by continuous wave radar. A new air-to-air guided missile, Red Top. Also Thunderbird Mark II. Newborn ideas for new shapes of aircraft have an odd look. They must be thoroughly tested in the wind tunnel and their behavior carefully observed. Only after many changes will they reach the final shape that will find its way onto the drawing board, the aircraft of tomorrow. Here, designers' eyes are firmly on the future. A model of a supersonic airliner yet to come. Safety is emphasized by Solartron's fully transistorized ground control training equipment. The shape of things to come. A supersonic aircraft, a super rocket, a satellite station, a remarkable lift jet engine in which plastics are largely used. This Rolls-Royce RB162 is shown in public for the first time. The Thor ramjet powers the Bloodhound. The Bristol Siddeley Jaron Jr. powers the Bristol 188 research aircraft. Britain's new long-range airliner, the Vickers VC-10, the most powerful in the world. 4 rear-mounted Rolls-Royce Conway 42 engines give it a speed of 600 miles an hour and a range of 4,400 miles with full payload. The revolutionary Bristol Siddeley Pegasus turbofan, with its swiveling nozzles, powers the amazing Hawker P1127. The Spey engine, of which 3 are used in the Trident, is a Rolls-Royce bypass jet. The Royal Navy's Buccaneer, which has just come into operational service, has 2 Jaran Juniors. A Vulcan V bomber is here being used as a flying test bed for the supersonic Olympus, installed under the fuselage in addition to the 4 normal engines. Back to the airfield, and there goes the Herald. The inside of the Avro 748, a medium-range airliner designed for comfort. All set and ready to fly. Powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Dart engines, it cruises at 280 miles an hour and seats 52 passengers. The Handley Page 115 is built to study low-speed flying. It's a Ministry of Aviation project. The Ministry's supersonic research aircraft, the Bristol 188. Here watched by Mr. Amery, Britain's Minister of Aviation. Made of stainless steel, it will study the heat barrier. The Royal Navy sweep in with their Sea Vixens and Scimitars, the Fleet Air Arm's strike and reconnaissance aircraft. Watched by their captain. And now it's the turn of the helicopters. Here, the Westland Wessex, the Whirlwind, and the Scout, showing the paces of this most versatile of all types of aircraft. And the smallest helicopter, the Beagle 116 Autogyro, ideal for inspecting overhead cables or spraying crops. The Beagle Mark II air truck. The 4-seater Beagle M218, the newest of the Beagles. Partly built of fiberglass, it needs only 500 yards runway. Cruising speed 175, range 1,000 miles. It's here seen with the larger Beagle B206. The astonishing Hawker P1127s show their versatility by taking off first from a concrete runway and then from the soft grass verd. These revolutionary aircraft can fly in the region of the speed of sound. Their unique Pegasus engines allow these P1127s to perform almost any evolution in flight. Here they're demonstrating their outstanding maneuverability. That's the Trident. And now the DH-125. The de Havilland Trident, a new medium-range airliner which can carry 100 passengers and a ton of baggage at 600 miles an hour for 1,400 miles. Notable features of the Trident are the quietness of its 3 Spey jets and the fact that it's the first civil airliner to use the Smiths blind landing equipment. The de Havilland 125, a new and luxurious executive aircraft, is powered by 2 Bristol Siddeley Viper 20 engines rear-mounted. It can fly at 500 miles an hour and is fully pressurized and air-conditioned. But the queen of the show is undoubtedly the Vickers VC-10. Using the Elliott automatic blind landing equipment, it takes 150 passengers and baggage and 4 tons of freight. For an aircraft of its size, it has an extremely short takeoff and landing run. For the climax of the show, as with wingtips only 4 feet apart, Hunters and Lightnings of 92 and 74 Squadrons Royal Air Force, the Blue Diamonds and the Tigers, start their dazzling display of precision flying. Unerring virtuosity makes the onlooker forget that both these squadrons are fully operational. So they set the seal of perfection on a year of achievement, in which 8 new aircraft have flown at Farnborough. Welcome to Farnborough. This is the 26th exhibition and flying display
of the Society of British Aerospace Companies. In 7 days, this Hampshire airfield plays host to more than 250,000 visitors from 130 countries. Government representatives, airline officials, aviation enthusiasts, and small boys with hero worship in their eyes.
Many of these visitors will be flying in themselves. In the jet age in which we live, no time can be wasted, not even travelling. The flying office comes into its own at 30,000 feet and 300 miles an hour. Handley Page's Jetstream makes its debut within easy reach of Farnborough.
Orders, large and small, make up the gigantic British aerospace industry. Orders being placed at the rate of over £100 million a month, more than half to overseas markets. Many of these orders are for passenger aircraft, such as the 99-seater version of the popular BAC 111. The first of the 500 series to be commissioned for service later this year is being christened by Lady Millward, wife of British European Airways chairman.
John, have you seen that?
This Super 111 is powered by twin Spey engines manufactured by Rolls-Royce, whose Farnborough presentation includes their latest advanced technology engine, the RB211 turbofan. Engines account for 1/5 of the British aerospace industry's sales. They're already in service or on order with 180 airlines, 270 independent operators and 64 armed forces. Sweden's Draken, for instance, now taking off.
Continues the foreign aircraft display. I'd like to point out here, ladies and gentlemen, that this display is the first to include aircraft from any nation. To qualify, they must be sponsored by a member company of SBAC, contain a significant proportion of British equipment, and be powered by British engines, like the Viper turbojets on Yugoslavia's Galev and Yastra. Japan's 60-seater turboprop YS-11A. Stability is demonstrated by a flyover with a feathered starboard dart engine. Attention! Some fine flying from Italy's Air Macchi MB326. Italian star turn, a loop ending on a fast one-wheel landing.
The model of the Anglo-French Jaguar tactical strike fighter attracts attention while its prototype undergoes flying tests in France. Components and accessories, essential to all aircraft.
This simulator is designed to train pilots in instrument and navigation flight. It's aimed mostly at schools and airlines. We can equip it to simulate most kinds of aircraft.
I'm very much interested on your flight deck instruments, especially the Mach airspeed indicator you show here.
Yes, we've delivered 1,000 of them to the Boeing Aircraft Company in the USA, along with instruments and systems to 320 airlines and air forces.
Information from ground-based aids, VOR, DME, hyperbolic, etc. is fed into the map display, and also from navigation aids such as Doppler and inertial systems. The map itself has 4 scales and can also be orientated north up or track up. The map on one film will cover the United Kingdom on a scale of 1 in 50,000 and will completely cover the whole world on a normal airline route structure scale.
I think people who are visiting Farnborough will be tremendously impressed with the size of the Airbus and the spaciousness that we've achieved with this large mock-up, which is the first time that we have shown it in public.
The liquid condition suit was designed for 2 purposes, primarily the military, but also for the space program. The 2 suits over here are to be used in the test flying program by the pilots of Concorde.
85 miles from Farnborough, the giant prototype of the Anglo-French supersonic Concorde rolls out of the British Aircraft Corporation hangars near Bristol. 16 international airlines already hold options on 74 Concordes. Supersonic travel comes a little closer to the passenger of tomorrow. The shape of speed, be it Concorde or rocket, whether for research, meteorological or military purposes, missiles, rockets and radars are yet another area of international cooperation, and one in which Britain plays an important part. But supersonic speed is not the only selling point at Farnborough. If you're interested in an aeroplane which has a short landing, is rugged, roomy and easy to load, then the short Skyvan is just the thing for you. Another highly successful short takeoff light transport is Britten-Norman's Islander. Deliveries began in 1967, and to date well over 200 have been sold, and the company expects to sell 1,000 over the next 4 years. An economic feeder line aircraft designed primarily for use in developing countries, it's at its most useful in such inaccessible areas as islands, grasslands and beaches. Maneuverability is the password. But ease of handling and access are nothing new. The ubiquitous helicopter has made good use of them for years. Westland Aircraft, Britain's sole manufacturer of helicopters, is the largest in Europe. The formation display of their latest aircraft includes 2 examples of their cooperative efforts with France's Sud Aviation. A dive away by a Wessex leaves the sky to a spin by Beagle's Pup, known as the sports car of the air. A low-wing, single-engine trainer or private aircraft that's rapidly become an international favourite. More than 300 already on order, 70% to overseas markets. A significant contributor to the £32.5 million total of orders taken at Farnborough this year. For a complete change of size and pace, the Royal Air Force's maritime reconnaissance aircraft Nimrod, Hawker Siddeley's sophisticated development of their long-established Comet. Also from Hawker Siddeley, the ultimate in vertical takeoff. The remarkable Harrier military strike aircraft, which will shortly be going into service with the Royal Air Force.
And the cold, misty weather doesn't deter this remarkable machine, the Harrier. The plane thought by some to put the RAF 10 years ahead of any other Air Force.
1309, request takeoff.
1309, clear takeoff, surface wind 180 degrees, 7 knots.
309, roger.
Capable of operating from a woodland clearing, this revolutionary aircraft brings a new dimension to military tactics.
One famous test pilot has compared the Harrier's impact on defense strategy to that of the gun replacing the bow and arrow. No bows and arrows here either. One of the highlights of every Farnborough display is the combined Army and Navy tactical assault. One casualty is rapidly rescued. The aim to capture and destroy an enemy rocket. Through the smoke and fury of the battlefield, the exciting culmination of the day. Nothing embodies the spirit of adventure, daring and advancement of the Farnborough Air Display like the RAF's great aerobatic team, the Red Arrows.